guys? This is another sniper coming here with another video. And as always, I hope you guys are doing fantastic, doing alright. I'm doing pretty well. So, just before I get to today before I get on with today's video, if you guys did not see the Dead by Daylight stream I did when I did my intro, so good news, my left ear is almost fully healed, but still needs time to fully heal, because right now the itchiness and the pain has gone away technically, and thanks to the antibiotic medicine I've been using just to make sure it doesn't get infected, it has been working perfectly well and everything has been working perfectly fine. So yeah, so I would say maybe in less than 2 or 3 more weeks, I should be fully healed on my left ear, and I'll be able to use both of my ears again. Because so far, I've been only using this ear, and well, as you guys saw, everything has been perfectly well. So now, this video, I had a feeling this video will come this day, because I knew since last night. I think it's about time I share this, and I don't care whether this person, let's just say this video has something against toxic players or anyone who's toxic, but this video is also to help people like me and my friends and my online friends, and including my VTuber friends, because I'm trying to make a point. And let's just say it's before what I'm about to say, I know some words I'm gonna say might sound like, I would say, politics or something like that, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, or they're nothing like cursing or nothing. It's just yeah, it's gonna be complicated to explain, so yeah. So fortunately, I want to explain a lot of things. So we're gonna start from the very beginning, because this is gonna help so many innocent people, but I don't think people are gonna find this video or anything else. But fortunately, here's what I want to explain. As you guys know from my previous streams, when I was streaming Breakers, Dead by Daylight, or any online games, over the past few years, ever since Resident Evil Resistance, I told you guys before this, and for anyone who's new to the channel, you're about to learn a lot of things from this, and eventually, like I said, whatever I'm gonna say, you can believe it or you don't have to. But here goes nothing. But we'll start at the beginning of my life. As you guys are aware, you guys already know of my backstory of what I went through, and I already know some of you guys who went through worse situation than me. But let me tell you guys a little story. For those of you who are new, you're about to learn. About 7 years ago, no, hold on, we're in 2025, so, oh, okay, my mistake. So yeah, about 6 years ago, I went through some painful things in my life, and as you guys are aware, I was bullied a lot, and over the past few years, 2 people ruined my life, and of course I was traumatized and in so much pain. I was filled with nothing but sadness, anger, and nothing but revenge. At first, I wanted revenge on the people who made me suffer, but of course, that was not me at the time. Because really, I wanted to believe all people were nothing but idiots, dumb, or they're really, really caring about the people who they really care about. But I was wrong. After therapy that I got from my family, I soon realized there are some people who are going through worse situations than I did, and not to mention, they have been through worser pain than I went through. So, as you guys are aware of, I learned a lot of stuff on my own, and now the time has finally come, but not really, to reveal more. But before I share, it's time to take a tiny break, so I'm gonna pause the video and then I'll resume it again. So give me one moment. So, yeah. Okay, now that that's done, so let's continue. So, as you guys are aware, after the incident I went through back in high school, at first, like I said before, I wanted revenge on those people who made me suffer. However, I soon realized after the changes and after everything I learned from my therapist, vengeance, or should I say revenge, or they're both the same word, and payback, or something like that, is not really a good word to say. Because if you wanted revenge on someone, that's almost like you're saying you want them gone in life. Or to be more accurate, there are two types of revenge. The first revenge is you kind of want like what they did. Let's say they poured, like, I don't know, paint or something on you, and you wanted revenge for them back. But the second revenge is a not good revenge. It has something to do with, if I'm gonna say this, but death. Yeah, which is obviously not a good word to say, because revenge and vengeance are not really a good word to say. But to some toxic players, they think it's obviously good for them, and obviously, yeah, that's on their choice. However, people like me and my friends, vengeance is not the answer, because it'll just lead to more and more pain in the brain and in your mind, not to mention in your memories, and can sometimes come back to haunt you in your dreams. So, of course, the only way to make sure people who are toxic is to make sure they never do this again, to not only to me, but including others. Because think about it, if they're doing it to me, they're probably doing this to other people as well. They're trying to cyberbully them or just mess with them. But really, they're just trying to gain power. They're trying to use, like, I don't know, fear to make them powerful. To think, oh, they can do whatever they want and they can mess with people. Well, they're wrong. Because I'm here to tell you guys, they try to make it look like you're weak, but you're not. Weakness just makes you weak, but that's what they want you to believe. However, that's not the only thing. They also try and make you look stupid or dumb, but really, are you really that dumb? No. Because, like I said, any toxic people or any toxic players who are on drugs, smoke, or whatever they're using, or whatever, if they were born like that, or I don't know, but either way, they're just trying to gain power to overwhelm you. In other words, they're using this power to mess with you and think they're the boss of you. You're not. So, yeah. However, that's not the only thing I want to talk about. So, you see, people, some people, let's start with me, for example, people like me, let's just say, of course, I've changed into a better person and I'm trying the best I can to support not only myself, but including others. Because bad stuff have happened to me in the past, and I swore to myself never that this will happen to others. And so far, after the progress I've made so far, looks like I managed to successfully help at least a few people. Because obviously, I'm not ordinary person. Sure, I may be, and for those of you who are new, I'm going to let you guys know this. I'm different from people because I am autistic. And I'm pretty sure I can take a wild guess what any toxic people are saying right now. But go ahead. It's not going to affect me. Because as I, as I got, oh my God, as I told you guys, ever since I've been playing different games, Resident Evil, Metal Gear, and other games, somehow Wesker, Psycho Mantis, and others somehow saved me on that day. And I've mastered their movements and everything. And to you guys who are toxic, or maybe some people who are normal, or I don't know, you guys think that sounds crazy, or that's hard to believe, or I'm lying, or I don't know. You don't have to believe my words. But to me, they somehow saved me on that day. And like I said, anyone who tries to mess with me again, it's not going to work. Because inside of my brain, Psycho Mantis powers or mind control or whatever has influence on my brain. So, in other words, whatever happens in gaming, whether it's online or in the story mode or anything, if it's in hard professional mode, and even right now, you guys saw right now, because when I fought that mysterious hood person again on Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, when I was playing as Terra, I did not even once get upset or annoyed by it. Because sure, he beat me multiple times, but did I ever give up? No. Because, like I said, the game was only trying to mess with my brain, but it didn't work. Because as long as you keep practicing and practicing and get more stronger and have the right abilities, skills, movements, and everything in the game, you will know how to defeat your enemies. In other words, people, well, no. Let's say a computer somehow tries to think you're weak, but you're not. The computer itself is trying to train your skills, if I would have to say it in that way. But that's not the point. The point is, you have to believe what's in your heart and believe what you believe in your heart. For example, no. For me, I believe in that there are people who are out there who are going through suffering and painful situations. So I took the liberty of supporting and helping others from what I've learned in my past and share the knowledge of it. And so far, I have shared it with my partner and his friends and other people. And so far, they have believed me and they even saw with their own eyes over the past few months. So, in other words, I am telling the truth. But for other people who are toxic or anything, they just probably tell me right in front of my face that I'm lying. That's just a bunch of excuses, or I don't know. Like, if they believe in that way, then let them. Because whatever I say, they don't have to believe it or not, or still. However, the most important thing is we're all human beings and we have our rights to do whatever we want in life. But let me stop right there. What I mean by that, don't think of it, you can do whatever in life. Like, let's say you have this power to do whatever you want in life. That's not what I mean. I mean that people who are going through situations or anything like children, anything, people who have been bullied or even picked on for the past few months or whatever year or what happened in their life, it is personal to them and they don't want to share it. However, that doesn't mean they should be treated badly. We all have a second chance or a third chance. But still, I have brought hope back to so many people because at first I tried to warn them from the very beginning something bad was going to happen. At first, they did not believe me, of course, but look what happened. Because eventually, he or she messed with that person and they lost everything, their, their life, their career, and everything because they did not listen. And I tried to help, but in the end, they made the wrong choice and they made the bad decision of their life. However, there is always a second chance of hope in life. Just because that person ruined you, that doesn't mean you can start all over again. Of course, it will take time again and everything, but that doesn't mean you should never give up. Because in life, people who are toxic, they just try to make other people miserable, sad, or even worse, make them traumatized, extremely traumatized. And that is exactly what happened to some of my friends on YouTube. However, you should all know that everything is not always true. You have to believe what you believe in. And not to mention, you got to believe in hope. Don't look towards the darkness. Look towards to the light. But still, you guys don't have to believe every word I say, but to be honest, the whole point of this video of me telling you guys this, because fortunately for the past few streams I've done, you guys have maybe or maybe not have heard me, because maybe you guys have arrived at my streams late. So you guys are probably wondering what's the whole point of this video. Well, I'm about to tell you. I'm not doing this because the reason why some toxic players hate me or whatever the cause, I don't know. Maybe they think I suck, I cheat, or I don't know. But, of course, as you guys are aware of, because about 2 or 3 years ago, no, we're in 20, so it happened in 3 years ago. Me and my friends have dealt with a psycho who wanted revenge, not only on me, but including another friend of mine on YouTube. But thankfully, after all our hard work, well, mostly me, but fortunately my friend is safe now, including all of them, thanks to me, of course. He's no longer a threat or a bother to him. But I still have reasons to believe there are other people similar or maybe alike this guy that eventually will become a new enemy. And for me, on the other hand, looks like there's been someone stalking me for the past 2 or 3 months, I don't know, and probably still watching this video and other videos I've created so far. But I'm telling them right in front of my face, they are not the boss of me. They cannot tell me what to do. I am not afraid, and I have something that they don't. Because, like I said, I'm autistic, and after the situations I went through back in high school, I not only learned a lot, but I have, thanks to my family members, let's just say I'm being protected, and I said this so many times, and they don't have to believe it, but I am being protected by groups of serious people that if anything happens to them, well, happens to me, they will know the consequences. And don't think of it as revenge. Think of it as self defense. Because, in other words, I'm not the one who started it, you did. Because, think about it. Every single time in a match, some toxic players like to say, like, toxicity, teabagging, or anything. And sometimes, if the person playing as a survivor or killer or whatever game it is, they think that they are just trying to mess with them or trying to bully them, or I don't know, they try to make them look they're weak. But instead, they're actually exposing themselves. Because really, because honestly, they say I'm the one who started it. But really, they are the one who started it. Because if they lose, they lost. But to their side, they think, oh, this person cheated. This person, I don't know. But in other words, that's a bunch of lies. Because really, they are the one who started it. Not me. Not you guys or anyone. Because we were just playing fairly. But to them, they think we cheated, and obviously, that's a bunch of lies. So, obviously, the only way to make sure they don't do this is to make sure we get anything from them. And you guys know what I'm talking about. Because eventually I will say this, but fortunately, if I do say it, obviously I know some players are going to counter it. So it's best not to say it. So, yeah. But there are still more things I want to talk about. Now, as you guys are aware, my first partner was Miller. But to some of you guys, you already know. But for those of you who are new, allow me to explain. Right after I became a streamer, well, a YouTuber, there were four of us. Me, Steven, Kevin, and Miller. And we had fun times together, and it was all a bunch of fun. But unfortunately, I had to say goodbye to both Steven and Kevin, and it was only just me and Miller for the past 5 years. And over the time, I've trained Miller to become almost like me, and he was the greatest person who I trained. But last year, or no, 2 years ago, on July 4th, or should I say July 5th, Miller backstabbed me and betrayed me for unknown reasons. Why? Because to him, he only think I only cared about doing business with other people. But to him, looks like he had some dark side in his heart. And that's when he snapped. So, ever since that day, my first partner betrayed me. So I replaced him with a second partner. However, my second partner has not learned over the past few months, ever since I've been training him. He may have learned how to use the powers and everything, but there's only one thing he still not has completed yet. Like I said last night, your mind is overwhelmed with nothing but negative anger and sadness. And I don't want to bring back bad memories, but ever since you lost and had those arguments with those people, I get it. It was traumatizing, painful, and really, really heartbreaking. But eventually, you're going to have to make it a choice, because ever since you lost your channel, and like I said before, there's always a second chance. But you don't have to do it on YouTube. There are other websites like Twitch, Kick, or any other website you can stream, so that way no one can find you. But eventually, you're going to have to make the choice, because either way, I know you, and the choice is always yours. Retirement, that's your choice. But I'm making this as an opinion. When you return, eventually you're going to have to use your mic, and eventually you're going to have to let go all of that pain. Because think about it. We dealt with past enemies in the past, but if they continue mess with your head, they're just bringing more negative anger, and you're just becoming them. But I know right now you're telling me right in my face, I am not like them. That's true. But their memories and what they did, they are. So in other words, you gotta let go. Let go of the negative emotions, let go of the sadness, and let go of the anger of the past, of what those people did to you. And you gotta focus on the future, the present. Because me, I have already let go of the two psychos who messed with me in high school. I've let go with the psycho we dealt with 3 years ago after when he tried to get revenge on the both of us. But you, on the other hand, haven't. You need to focus on the mind and do not let anybody's words mess with your head this time if you're going to become more stronger. So, yeah. But most importantly, this will be the final speech. You guys are well aware that, like I said before, we're all human beings. We can decide whatever we want, but in our terms, only trust the people who you really trust, like family. But I also know that some family, like parents, siblings, can sometimes treat their children disrespectfully, and they can be born into a toxic person. Or they learn videos or something like that as they get older. That's true. But most importantly, don't let the past, or don't let anyone mess with you. You are who you are. Nobody's the boss of me except family, of course. But for you guys, remember this. Any toxic people who try to say something to you, they are not the boss of you. And they can try whatever they want. But really, eventually, they are the ones who are going to get more pain, not you. Because eventually, they will be filled with nothing but vengeance, revenge on the person who did this to them. And that's their fault, because maybe they're on drugs, they're on smoke, pills, medication, or whatever. But still, the most important thing is we're all human beings, and we all decide what we can do in life, of what we truly believe for the future. Now, for the final moment. You guys have already known and heard me in my past dreams. I am not doing this because eventually, well, no. You see, I have something against toxic people. But I'm not doing this for revenge or anything because, like I said, just ignore them. But if they don't leave you alone, then that's another story. Let's say someone comes into your stream or finds your videos or finds your channel. Don't let them mess with you. However, if they do something bad to you, then maybe you should return the favor, but not in revenge, in a positive way. But I cannot tell you what that is. So, for me, and this is the whole reason why I titled this video, I'm doing this for equality for all. And you're wondering what that even means from the beginning. Well, here's what I'm going to try to explain in my way. So, Okay, this is gonna sound really, really confusing. So, what I'm trying to say is, like, basically, equality by itself, like the vocabulary word by itself, it means like, well, I know what you guys know what it means, but there are two ways. So let's just say, okay, take this for example. All children should be treated equally. In other words, children should be treated nice and respectfully and treated with nothing but love, kindness, and honesty. So, in other words, that should help be treated with not only children, but also teenagers, adults, and even senior people. So, yeah. And before I continue, I'm going to pause again the video just for another break, just in case if you guys are kind of like exhausted or, yeah. So I'm going to pause the video again just to let you guys know, just to take a break. Okay, so let's about finish this video once for all. So anyways, as I mentioned before, equality is one of the reasons why I'm doing this. Equality against toxic players, or should I say equality for all. In other words, people, like I said, equality basically means the rights, and not to mention the rights to whatever you can do in life, but not in a bad way, in a good way. Because let's just say people have opportunities of what they can do in life. But, for example, let's say for my opportunities, I believe in that if I can continue supporting not only my partner and friends, but including my Twitch friends, maybe or maybe not, some of my words can help them and believe if they're going through worse situations. But I also believe they can do whatever they can to support their own channels, and as long as nobody toxic messes with them, they'll always have their support, and they have greater friendships in their heart. So, yeah. I'm not doing this for vengeance or against, or no, revenge against toxicity. I'm doing this for equality against toxic players. But I know to them it sounds confusing or weird. And one last thing. Obviously, you guys haven't figured it out yet. But there are only 3 of us. We are the members of VXM. And I'm number 0. So, in other words, don't mess with VXM. Or to be more precisely, don't mess with VX. So, that's all I'm going to say. But yeah, like I said before, equality for all. We are human beings. We can do wherever we want in life, what we believe in, for hope in the future. And we are all human beings. So, I hope these words have helped you guys. And I know they sound weird, but trust me, everything that I said, don't let toxic people mess with your mind, your brain, or whatever they did in your past. That's in the past. Let it go. Only thing about happiness, and always remember, there are always new toxic people who can be new enemies. And they can try all they want to mess with you. But this time, any toxic players who try to mess with me, it's not gonna work. And it should be the same for all of you guys as well who are going through painful, bad situations. But remember, they just try to mess with your brain, your mind, and your feelings. Don't let them. So, yeah. But either way, I hope you guys understand and everything I explained. I hope you guys also understand. But now that I've said everything, this is not for vengeance. This is for equality for all against toxic people and players. So, yeah, we gotta make sure they never ever do this to anyone ever again. That is all. And normally, fortunately, people, before I also end this video, like I try my best to look for people. I mean, no. I mean, try to look for sound effects, but this will have to do. So, yeah, because technically I said a long speech, and yeah. So, here goes nothing. Just all right. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. So don't forget to like and subscribe. So peace out, stay safe, and I'll see you guys when I start streaming. Peace.